Good day, everyone. It is your host, Crypto Glenn. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. So, it's been about a week since the last we spoke. Since then, I got to inform you guys, I have come down with a little bit of a cold, so that has been a part of my absence. But, guys, always keep in mind that in the event that I go a few days or so without dropping a video, you can always contact me, and you can always reach me here on Twitter at Crypto Glenn. This is actually going to be the best way, as I always have my phone attached to my hip. So if you guys tweet me, we'll be able to communicate back and forth that way. And thanks to the 252 followers that interact with me, pretty much regularly for the most part, we're having fun talking about all things NFTs and projects and making money. And if we are having the dialogue on Twitter about NFTs, believe me, guys, we are making money. Here is one of the latest looks at my vault on Veve. You can see we've got a nice healthy collection of some of the Ultraman drops that came out a couple weeks ago, and yeah, we're just kind of having fun with that. So yesterday on Twitter, and again, if you guys follow me there, you definitely saw this tweet. It looked like on the 4-hour candle on the Bybit chart, Bitcoin was entering a little bit of a falling wedge. And I know that everybody's talking about ascending wedges in the current market that we're in now, and how it's not really that big of a deal because we're in a bull market. I tend to normally subscribe to the notion that no matter what kind of market you're in, the ascending wedges are never really a good sign, as the majority of times that we have entered into them, we've always broken to the downside, versus these falling wedges, these falling channels, I like to see, because it's usually a strong indication that Bitcoin's getting ready to break out. And as you can see here, we have a little bit of a falling wedge here, a little bit of a falling wedge here. Let's take a look at that on our actual chart. All right, so here we are on the 4-hour chart on Bybit, and you can see here we still have this cup and handle pattern that it looks like it's trying to break out. You see here we've got the depth of the cup here leads up to the handle. That handle created a little bit of a falling wedge. Again, when the falling wedge appeared, boom, we had a little bit of a breakout, and we did break above that 60,000 that I was calling for on one of the last videos, and again on Twitter if you guys follow me there, again at Crypto Glenn. But you see we started to fall back below that that 60,000, that 59,000 area support that we had. That since then is now starting to act as a bit of resistance. But here we are again painting another falling wedge, and it looks like we've broken out above that. Now what I personally want to see here, guys, is I want to see some strong confirmation in terms of that this is actually the real deal. I don't necessarily believe that it is. I think what we're actually seeing here is probably the setup for a little bit of a W pattern. I know there's smaller ones that are in here, and what we've seen is usually the smaller the W pattern, we get a little bit of a pop, but it's not strong enough to turn this little 59.4 zone from resistance into support. So, what I want to see here is ultimately I want to see us go down and paint a little bit of a bigger W, because that's going to prevent, this can actually present a stronger case for us to break above this $59,000-$60,000 range, turn that into support so that we can actually start to build off from there. And again, I am still looking at our cup and handle price target here, putting us at least 67,000 when the breakout does happen. That's why I'm really hoping that this is going to turn into somewhat of a stronger W pattern. As you guys can see that I was calling for here yesterday on Twitter, and this is actually before we broke out. I just kind of took notice and I said, hey, it looks like we've got about 4 or 10 or so candles that are forming on the 4-hour, and it looks like we're going into a W pattern. And what I'm looking to see is if we break down to the downside, hold this level of support, push up the resistance, and push us above that 59.4 zone, well into 60K. And should that happen, we could potentially see us go north of 63,000. Like I said, my ultimate target is to see us at around 67,000, roughly, give or take. Now, I have a few suspicions. I know that a lot of times the market is not very logical. In fact, you got to look at it this way. The market's job is to try and take as much money from the market participants as possible. On the other side of that coin, the market participants' job is to try and take as much money out of the market as possible. And unfortunately, the odds aren't necessarily in the favors of the investors. So the market, you've heard this saying, will remain illogical longer than most of us can remain solvent, right? So keep that in mind. So normally on these dips, this is a time where everybody should be buying. We've got the Coinbase IPO coming out right here. What I suspect is going to happen is when we get around to the IPO, maybe even on the other side of the IPO, I wouldn't be surprised if that's when we really saw Bitcoin take a massive swing to the upside. And I'll tell you why, because keep in mind that when you're looking at these candles, this is nothing but reading emotion, right? The red represents fear, the green represents optimism. And the thing is about those two emotions, fear is a way more contagious, way more powerful emotion than optimism is. So a lot of people, while some of us may be buying these dips, a lot of people don't normally start to buy Bitcoin, and this is coming directly from data from Coinbase. A lot of people don't start to buy Bitcoin until the price really starts to move up, because then there's that fear of FOMO. Gosh, if I don't get it now, I'm probably going to miss out. So I know if we've got the IPO for Coinbase coming on the 14th, I believe it is, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw this W play out, you know, and then maybe push back up to the upside. It could happen. I'm keeping an eye out for it. At this point in time, I'm not going to outrule it. Obviously, some additional hyper bullish news is the fact that, you know, Tether has finally figured out its case, allegedly, and all things seemingly, it looks like a lot of Tether has been printed and moved on to exchanges. And we know before, looking in the past, whenever that's happened, Bitcoin has saw a very strong movement to the upside. So I'm looking at that in conjunction with the Coinbase IPO, that this could be painting a scenario for Bitcoin to finally turn this level of 60,000 from resistance into support and send us north of 65,000. And this is pretty much the story that I was alluding to just a moment ago. The Bitcoin exchanges just saw massive Tether stablecoin deposit. You can actually catch this article on Cointelegraph. Nearly $500 million in Tether inflows were recorded on April 8th. That's just yesterday, across all major Bitcoin exchanges based in the Glassnode data. So again, guys, very bullish. Just going back and looking from a historical, you know, standpoint, whenever Tether tends to move into exchanges, the price of Bitcoin tends to go up a lot. Wanted to do a quick follow-up video to the saga of the Bolt dollar finance, as I promised some of you that I would. If you recall, I got into Bolt dollar finance, gosh, this is probably a month and a half ago at this point, roughly. And I had got in because I wanted to make some content for you guys to deter people from getting into projects like this, where it's like promising these outrageously high APYs and the allure of you're going to be rich. Just bring over your precious currency here and stake it and provide liquidity for liquidity pools, and you guys are going to be rich. Guys, I can't stress it enough. Stay away from these kind of things. I got into this thing when it was at 100. I left when it went to $200 or $300. It ran all the way to $8. And even at the time that I had got in, I was telling people that these things are not sustainable. They're not built to be sustainable. And I was getting all kinds of tweets and flacks under comments of videos when I had covered this. Let's see. Looks like it was this video here and maybe even this video. So definitely these two videos. But yeah, I was getting all kinds of flack. You got out too soon. You're a fool. You're a dummy. Do you feel crazy because you got out too soon? And it's like, no, I got out while taking a profit. And did it suck that, hey, it ran up to 8 and I didn't collect all those gains? Not really, because again, I still walked away with the profit. You have to understand the psychology of a lot of people who get involved with a lot of these things. Most people, they'll get into it. They're going to stay a little too long at the party and they're not going to know when to get out. Okay. So I know there's a lot of people that think I'm just going to use these type of platforms to earn a little bit of money in a short period of time. But I promise you, the emotional side of you is going to take over unless you're really a seasoned investor. And when you start to see that your investment is going up, you're not going to want to pull out too soon. And what happens because of that, you end up staying at the party too late and you end up losing a lot of money. So here it is at $20 or so. I don't doubt that this will bounce, but I definitely do not think it's going to go to the levels that it once was. Actually, I think their Bolt dollar at one point in time was like $1 or $2, maybe $3 per each one of these coins. The long and short of it is, if you're going to be invested in these kind of things, A, just don't, but B, be extremely, extremely careful. These are not things that I like to promote on my channel. Again, I just wanted to do a topic on this because I wanted to show people how risky these things can be. And again, it can. I got in at 100. It's now at 20. Granted, I got it at 3. It ran to 8, and now it's back down to 20. If you go and you just look at these guys on Twitter, the Twitter sentiment is horrible. People are just very upset with the price action, and understandably so. They're, hoping and praying that the devs don't pull a Monster Slayer. I know Monster Slayer is one that a lot of people were ranting and raving about, and it seems like they've rugged. Guys, validate those contracts. Make sure that the projects you are investing in are extremely, extremely legitimate, because you're in a bull market. The scams are going to come out and people are going to try and take advantage of that. Okay, so you need to be mindful of that. So what's the latest on the Veve and Ecomi news? So yesterday they just had the drop of the DeLorean on the Veve app, and I got to be honest with you guys, this one was a little bit of a cluster. Not even really as smooth as the Seahorse drop, and I forget the official name of these guys, but the app was down like crazy. You couldn't get in. People were able to buy rares as the app was taken offline, because Veve, they do this thing where it gets so much traffic, they have to close out the app to basically allow the queue to free up. They couldn't keep up with orders, and people were still posting on social media, hey, I got, a rare. Some people had even made mention that they weren't getting the official confirmation or the denial that they weren't actually able to get the DeLorean version that they wanted. So they were just trying to buy, and they actually ended up buying multiple. So I think, I'm not going to, listen, if you are at the stage where you are taking people's money, in my mind, it's no longer officially beta. And I tend to be very crucial on projects. So I'm not going to give a pass to Veve and just say, hey, well, you know what, guys, they're still in beta. Let's cut them some slack. I think at this point, you are well aware how much demand your drops are getting. I don't know if you need to buy more servers to accommodate the traffic. I do know that they said they're going to increase the additions, the allocations for drops, so that more people have a chance of getting the ones that they want. But yeah, I mean, they've got issues that they need to fix, and that's saying a lot, because I'm a huge fan of what Veve, is doing. But I think there's other platforms out there like Wax. Wax, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't have these kind of issues. They put out a drop, people get it, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, right? And the thing about Veve is their communication on the customer end is good, but they know they have things that they need to fix, and it just doesn't. I don't know if the motivation is there to fix it. I just think they're happy that, hey, if we put out a drop and it sells out, that's good news for us. I think when you start to move to more prestigious brands like the NFL is very critical of what they put their name on. So if people are coming out having a bad customer experience with Veve, that may be the deterrent to prevent the NFL from actually, giving them its blessing to come out with the NFL NFTs. Now, I'm not sure if that deal is already signed, sealed, and delivered, but if it's not, this is something that people need to think about, because personally, as it stands right now, am not going to be utilizing the Veve app. I'm not going to be buying any more gems. I'm not going to be purchasing any more OMI tokens until these bugs are worked out. Like, we still can't even exchange gems for OMI. So if you load your account up with gems and you have a bad experience, well, now you can't even get that money off the platform. And this kind of goes to one of my strong fundamental beliefs about making investments. If you make an investment in a project and an asset, you don't want it to be illiquid, and not being able to get your money off of Veve for whatever given reason is kind of the same thing as it being illiquid. So until they can get the marketplace back up online, get the conversions between OMIs and gems back up online, at least right now, this is just how I'm feeling. I could change in 10 minutes. It could change in an hour. It could change if they come out with a really sick drop that I just feel like I want. But as it stands right now, I got to be critical, and I got to say, hey, guys over at Veve, like, fix your stuff, man. Get the marketplace up in line, because what's happening is, people they're buying the NFTs and they're going off chain to sell them. Now, a lot of people are of the mindset, well, this hurts those of us that are in the community, because if we exchange it or if we sell it on the marketplace, this burns the OMI tokens, and thus everybody that's holding a bag of OMI could potentially see the value go up. While that's true, I agree. However, most people are getting to these things not just for the collectible aspect, because they want to make money. So they're going to find what the avenue is for the money no matter what. So if it's selling it on eBay, they're going to do that. If it's selling it on Mercari, they're going to do that and just transfer it directly into the app with whoever buys it. So Veve, fix your stuff, man. Get these drops situated, because it is not leaving a great taste in the mouths of people. I think the next one that's on deck is probably going to be a Star Trek drop later this month. It could be the Enterprise. I don't necessarily know how I feel about that one. I have been looking around, and I honestly do feel that the NFT space as a whole is running into bubble-like levels. I'm ready for the NFTs of value, meaning that it's not just about the collectible, but this NFT that you hold gets you access of some shape or fashion. So that's personally what I'm ready for the NFT space to evolve into, because I took a look at the Pokemon NFTs that I told you guys about, that IDO that I told you about a few weeks ago or last week, and kind of to our suspicion, it's really just a play for NFTs. We don't need more NFTs for the sake of just having NFTs. We need more NFTs that are going to provide utility, that are going to provide people with value, and are going to provide people with access, and even intimate access with people that they really want to get closer to. Those are the NFTs that I think long term are going to do buku numbers. So it's not just about the NFTs in general, like the crypto punks or anything like that. I do like with what Veve has in terms of the IP that they have. This is probably like one step above the garbage NFTs that are out there now, but we need to be looking at getting to a space where NFTs of value are out and about. So that's basically what I want to talk about. But I mean, yeah, it's cool. The cool factor is definitely there, but I think over time this wears off pretty quickly. I mean, you can see just in the value that people like, they'll get a DeLorean, they'll put it on eBay, it'll go for $900, then like an hour later it's down, 80% from that $900 price that they want. So, the cool factor is there for like the first 5 minutes, but I think it's clear that the market's looking for something a little bit different. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm happy that I could reconnect with you guys. Definitely follow me on Twitter if you want to have these interactions a bit faster. We're going to be giving away some cryptocurrency here, and it's going to be XRP, some Litecoin, some BNB. If you want to get into that drawing, you have to do 3 things. You have to be subscribed to this channel, right? So you need to go here. There's going to be a little subscribe button somewhere around here. You need to subscribe to the channel. When I put out the official message on Twitter, you need to be following me on Twitter. You need to retweet the message and tell me what your username is on YouTube so I can make sure that you're following. You're subscribe to the channel so that we can get you involved into the drawing. I'm going to make that tweet now. Definitely do not miss it, because somebody is going to be made a very, very happy camper. BNB, Litecoin, XRP. We might give a couple of the big fellas away, the Ethereums as well as the Bitcoin. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.